And police in BC will provide an update this afternoon on the shooting of Ripudaman Singh Malik. Malik was acquitted in the 1985 Air India bombing. He was shot and killed in Surrey, BC yesterday. More than 300 people were killed in the bombing, making it the worst terror attack in Canadian history.
And right now we're joined live by Bal Gupta, the chair of the Air India Flight 182 Victims Families Association. Thank you so much for joining us on CB24 Live at noon. I understand that your wife was one of the victims. What was your initial reaction to yesterday's news?
Well, it was a kind of a surprise and shock. Surprise that things like this can happen in Canada again after 37 years of the Air India tragedy, and shock for the same reason.
Do you Bal, they say that time helps to heal. What is it like for you all these years later, 37 years later?
Well, the time doesn't heal much, but we learn to live with the tragedy. And whatever happened, whatever scars built on the wound, they were kind of opened up yesterday, and we were back in time, 37 years back, remembering all the tragic incidents and all the pain we went through.
Bal, I'm curious, for many of the families and the friends of the victims, a lot of them never felt that justice was really served, especially after he got acquitted. What's your overall take on this situation now that we don't know exactly what happened? We're expecting to get an update from police a little bit later. But is that the feeling from many of the families and the friends that justice wasn't served?
This is, well, true, that justice was not served in the investigation and trial, but this is not the type of justice which anybody wants. Mm-hmm. The Canadian way of justice failed at that time in Air India tragedy, and this is not justice. This is act of terrorism or gangsters or criminals.
Bal, have you had a chance to talk to any other members of the Victims Families Association? What are they saying?
I have talked to a few of them, and I have email correspondence, and they are feeling the same as I am. They are back in the same cycle of pain they were 37 years back. And we are still hoping that the government learns its lessons and be strict on violence, acts of terror, drug dealers, gangsters, all those things which are still happening in the society.
Bal, I'm curious, we don't know exactly what police are going to say. I'm wondering if it turns out that someone has waited this, so many years to kind of seek revenge for this. What would your reaction be to that?
I don't think there is anybody who will be waiting for 37 years for revenge. But we don't know. Mm-hmm. We will know who did what, hopefully. And but my feeling is, even though Mr. Malik was one of the two prime suspects in Air India tragedy,
so Bal,
pain which his children may be feeling, just as I and my children went through this pain 37 years back.
Bal, what's next?
Well, hopefully the government will be able to solve this tragedy and find the culprits who are there and take steps to put a lid on this type of acts in our society. Don't forget that there were two persons who were murdered after Air India tragedy. Two journalists. One was Mr. Tara Singh Hare in Vancouver, and the other was Mr. Purewal in England. And both of them were prime witnesses or potential witnesses for Air India tragedy.
Bal Gupta, chair of the Air India Flight 182 Victims Families Association, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bal.
Thank you much.